What is it with movies and books that have like characters who need to sneak around in their homes that have like creaky floorboards, but they don't need to worry because they know which floorboards aren't and are creaky?
We can do that. That's us. Like our house has that. Yeah.
Yeah, but like we've lived in this house forever, and I have no idea where all the creaky spots are in the hallway.
Oh well, that's because there's more and more every time. But I know where most of them are.
Welcome to Rocket to Anywhere, the show whose hosts can't believe they're on episode 50.
I'm
Corban.
can't believe I'm so sore.
I can't believe it's not butter. Okay, episode 50. 50 episodes in, you still forget to say your name.
Sofia.
Thank you. This week on the show, we're going to be talking about books that have great movie/TV show adaptations, books that need great movie or TV show adaptations, or movies that need to become books. It'll make more sense when we get there. But first, no follow-up this week, so we're going straight on to Thought of the Week. What do you have?
So, the order of the alphabet is completely random.
Yeah. Just like numbers, kind of. But then that's what the numbers became. That's the order.
Yep.
There were, I was actually going to talk about the alphabet a couple of episodes ago. There were a bunch of letters that were originally in the alphabet that got removed. It was this great video I watched a couple of weeks ago. I'll link it in the show notes if you want to see it. But there was all sorts of different letters that used to be in the alphabet, even in our normal English alphabet, that just got out of use. We stopped using them, or we broke them apart, made them normal letters. It's an interesting video. Links in the show notes at rta.space/50.
Oh, this is a cool one. If you were born deaf, what language do you think in?
Huh.
Because, obviously you think, but, how do you think?
Well, I guess eventually you would learn whatever language people around you speak and type in, or, books. Because a lot of people are deaf read books, right? Or they watch videos and stuff. So whatever language people around them use, when they have to learn to read, that's what they would think in.
I know, but up until then, what are you thinking?
I don't know. That'd be a great research paper. Well, I guess this is for springtime, however long ago that was. But we never actually clean things. We just transfer the dirt to something else. It's like the law of conservation of energy that says that heat can never be destroyed. It's always transferred somewhere else. So in the same way, I never actually cleaned anything. Just the dirt keeps getting moved to other items.
Okay. Learn a word time. Or, not learn it, but hear it. I don't really know how to pronounce it, so I'm just going to say grok. 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 To understand thoroughly and intuitively. Also slang. To communicate sympathetically.
So you could say an example of the sentence would be, I grok cooking.
I don't grok cooking. You had to cook my ramen this morning.
No, but I grok cooking.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I guess it makes sense.
Joke time with Sofia and Corban.
Who's not funny.
We're both not funny. Okay.
Did I ever tell a story of how I was cast as a
funny man?
Did I ever tell
a story about how you cut me off?
What? Well, you cut off Siri a couple minutes ago.
And you cut me off.
It's just
a couple years ago.
Holding grudges this long.
No, literally, you cut me off 5 seconds ago.
Well, 5 second
and
story.
And you just cut me off again.
5 second story. I was cast as a funny man in a Christmas play. People laughed not because I was funny, but because they were laughing at how I would ever be cast as the funny man.
And how I had to okay, so here's a Jack in the Box, and so I was cranking the thingy, and I don't care, and it already passed. So I was cranking the little fake imaginary thing, just so you know, it's imaginary, and he never came out, and so I just grabbed him. I just grabbed him and pulled him out, and then everybody laughed. So I was the funny person. Okay. The word bed looks like a bed.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's like that word world. Remember word world? Whatever the word looked like is how they would make it.
Yeah.
It's like if it was a bed, it was B and then a long E and then a D. How many opticians does it take to change a light bulb?
What's an optician?
You know, a person that looks at your eye.
Change a light bulb?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Is it 1 or 2? 1 or 2?
I don't get it.
Other people will. You know, when you go, okay, you don't have glasses. I do.
Oh.
But when you go
Yeah, 'cause I don't need them.
when you go to get your glasses, they put the little thing, you know, the big eye thing in front of you, and then they ask you which one's more in focus, 1 or 2, 1 or 2.
Oh. So what does that have to do with light bulbs?
It's a joke.
Okay, so whenever there's an awkward silence, saying "this is awkward" is a phrase to make the situation more awkward.
No, I think it releases the tension.
And how would you know, a person who never talks to anybody?
Because I'd like to imagine it does.
Well, it doesn't.
I'll try tonight when the only awkward silence is between me and my guinea pig. Why did the old man fall in the hole?
Because he couldn't see it?
No, because he couldn't see that well.
Okay. Fall in the well, so he couldn't see that well. You're not supposed to say hole, you're supposed to say well.
Well, it would give away the punchline.
Well, it would, yes.
Well, it would.
Yes. See, I'm funnier than you. Okay.
Ba-dum-bum.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Everything after that was made in China. I literally heard a 5-year-old say this in the bathroom. She was sitting on the counter, and then she looked at me and she goes, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." And I was like, "Oh, okay." She's practicing her verses. Then she goes, "Everything after that was made in China," and I was like, "Okay." That's funny.
You know, I wonder what would happen if someone started just, you know, sat in a stall and then people just started telling jokes.
You know, right?
Like,
Yeah.
okay, Sophia and I were working backstage for a show that's coming up. We were working on props, and I was listening to jazz, and I started doing like a mouth trumpet, and I didn't realize someone was behind me the whole time. And when I saw them, I just didn't stop. And Sophia said, "They were behind you the whole time. You know that, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just didn't stop."
Too late to stop, you know?
It's too late to stop. I bought my friend an elephant for his room. He said thanks. I said, "Don't mention it."
Oh, yeah.
The elephant in the room.
Mom, can we have a cat? As they say, holding the cat.
Yeah. Uh-huh. We reference that Vine all the time. Was it even a Vine? I think it was.
It's
No.
just a video.
Yeah, it was a video. The girl gets the cat, and then she realizes she needs to ask for it. So, "Mom, can we get a cat?" Okay.
If you're ever having a bad day and you think that you messed up too many times, just remember that sloths grab their own arms thinking that they're branches and fall out of the trees. Okay, I've always thought this. Do sloths fall slowly? Slowly to the ground?
I have no
Do
idea.
they just, break gravity?
Or they must just do it because it's fun. It's like that's the fastest they'll ever move the whole day. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm falling. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It was like this GIF on Reddit that was posted a couple of days ago about this guy who was like a construction worker, and there was a bunch of sloths crossing the road, and they needed to get them off the road because they were going to take hours to cross by themselves. So they started picking up the sloths and carrying them over, and then the sloths' faces just were smiling, and they were moving their hands like they were swimming, but in slow motion, and they're just crossing the street. And a lot of the comments were like, they shouldn't have done that because now the sloths are going to line up again, thinking they're going to get a ride again. Speaking of animals, why didn't the lion win the race?
Is this a pun joke?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know.
Because he was racing a cheetah.
Oh.
Okay. Now on to topic time. This is the topic we've been waiting to talk about for so long because I keep putting it off or other shows keep coming up to talk about. This is basically my backup topic when I don't have anything else to talk about. So that is books that are movies, books that should be movies, and movies that should be books, also known as what needs adaptations for film and television, what doesn't need them, or, what has really good ones. So let's start off with the first one, which is, what are some books that have great movies/TV show adaptations that we should recommend?
No, it's great movies that are terrible books.
Fine, if you want to put it that way.
I have two, because I have two for everyone, I think. There's The Giver, The one that's made in 2014.
What's that about? I'm not asking because I want the audience to know, but I'm asking because I don't know myself. I've never heard of it.
It's a really, don't read the book. It's a really good movie. It's about like this world that is like the economy is like messed up, but like nobody knows that it's messed up, and it's like everybody thinks it's just the normal thing to like wake up at a certain time, go to sleep at a certain time, and like like just work and not do anything. And you're not like, I think there was a thing where you're not supposed to go inside of bushes, but this kid does it one time and he finds somebody. But anyway, it's a really good movie. Just watch it.
Sounds interesting. My first one that's books that have been turned into a great TV show adaptation is the series Unfortunate Events. It has been turned into a really, really great Netflix series. The sets are amazing. The acting's amazing. All of it's great. Now, if you've never heard of it, it's about 3 orphans who lose their home in a terrible fire, as Mr. Poe says. They also lose their parents, so they get transferring about, and they learn about a secret organization. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but you won't like this if you don't like books or TV shows that don't have happy endings. Like this whole show, a series of unfortunate events, it has no happy ending. So if you don't like shows that don't have happy endings, don't go watch it.
This next one, apparently, this is a book that is also a movie, but I did not know this. So, it's Coraline.
Yes.
I did not know. I've watched Coraline like 3 times, and I still don't understand what it's about.
Okay, so it's Neil Gaiman.
Don't spoil it. Actually, you know what? I might watch it again.
It's good.
Okay. So, it's because the only time I've watched it was when I was in the dentist or the doctor.
Both of us were like...
Or I was 5 and I had no idea what it was about.
Yeah, we were both numb, like knocked out as well. And I only paid attention to it because I realized Coraline's dad was John Hodgman. I was like, am I like hallucinating? Or is that John Hodgman? So it's based on a book by Neil Gaiman. It's poetry, and he wrote it for his daughter who liked horror stories, even though she was like 8 years old. Anyway, yeah, it's an interesting story. You should check it out. My second favorite book that has been turned into a great TV show adaptation is Anne of Green Gables, or as they call it in America, Anne with an E, or like calling it in Canada or Canada. Anne. You gotta get the E on the end.
Yes, that's funny.
It's the classic book. Some people don't like the 2017 version that they put on Netflix, the one I'm talking about, because they say it's a bit too dark. But I have some issues with it, but I think it's a good adaptation. If you've never heard of the book, sorry, but what's wrong with you? Why have you never read it before? It's great.
I've heard of it. I've read the title, never opened it.
Although I don't agree with episode 7 and what they did to Matthew. Now on to books that need great movie or TV show adaptations. Now, I have a lot of these. I've read so many books over my time alive.
I have 3 because I think these are the only books I've ever read.
Yeah, these are just the top ones, our top ones that we want to be turned into.
No, these are the only ones I've ever read that I can remember.
For you. Well, they are your top then. They have to be your top. They're the only ones.
True. The first one is, I don't know if it's OCD Daniel or like OC Daniel or like
I was OC
is
Daniel.
Transferred.
Yeah, it was OC Daniel.
Yeah, that needs to be a movie.
What's it about?
So it's this kid who has OCD, but it's like, so everybody thinks that OCD is like you have to have everything perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not what OCD is.
I gotta make things right.
OCD, there's like a lot of different OCDs, and so after
obsessive clearing disorder.
No. So anyway, once you read it, it's pretty good. It should be a movie. Yeah.
Are you talking like a movie, like a blockbuster movie, or like a small tiny independent company movie, or like a Disney TV movie?
Disney would just ruin it, but it should be like a Amazon movie.
Okay.
Or maybe Netflix. Netflix would do better, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The first series of books that I think needs to be turned into some sort of a long-form television series is Keeper of the Lost Cities. Now, I have not finished the book series yet. I haven't read the latest book, but the writer has not finished writing the entire series yet, so that may be one of the reasons why it hasn't been adapted into a television show yet, because, what if it ends terribly? And they're like, why do we want to turn this into a show? But anyway, it would probably need a big budget. It's like a sort of, mystical fairy tale kind of, that type of Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter series kind of.
That you've never read or watched.
I've never read them, but like I know what they are. I've had them all spoiled because it's like so much of pop culture. Everyone talks about it and spoils it all. But
I still don't know what it's about either. But yeah.
It's probably a bit too wild for any form of television or anything. It would need like a really big budget. But we can all dream it'll end up being more than just one guy playing all the parts in his green screen in his basement.
This next one, it could be a movie or a one-season TV show, either one. The Supernaturalist. It's a book, and I only read the first 3 chapters because it was so slow. It was a good thing. That's the only reason I read 3 chapters.
Is that the one with the kid, and the what's the word? There was like a virus or something going around.
Mhm.
I don't remember. Well, it was written by Disney. Disney did write it.
It would be a good movie or TV show because the only reason I read 3 chapters was because it was interesting, but it was just taking so long.
Yeah, it's a story about this kid who's from the future, comes from some orphanage, and
it's not really an orphanage. It's trailer.
Yeah, it was weird. But there's this little virus, or I forgot what they use.
Parasites.
Yeah, parasites. That's right. Parasites that are taking over the land, and they use them for energy or something. It's been a while since I read it, but it's an interesting story. But I feel like it would be directed by some big name director, and it would be no one would understand it, but they think it would be so great. Yeah, probably something Steven Spielberg.
You know what reminded me of this? Was that new movie that's coming out, the
Ready Player One?
Yeah, that.
Yeah, you know what? It's sort of the same way.
That's what reminded me of it.
My second one, another series of books that needs to be turned into a TV series. I guess this one, I have to admit, Disney, it's already pretty bad. so Disney would just already pick it up in its entirety because it's already done. I think I could do maybe 2 series, but Willow Falls, small town, full of magic, mystery, and secrets. You can already expect that just on that little thing right there. You already know it's going to be a great Disney show. It would just be a really, really typical Disney sitcom with magic. That's how they all are.
Yeah, so my thingy, Bud Not Buddy. I sort of remember what it's about, don't really, but yeah. So I'm not gonna spoil it. But it's too much to read. I'm sorry.
What are you talking about?
It's like a 100-page book. Okay.
It's a great book. If you never read it, it takes place in
Michigan. If you never read it, make the TV show.
In the 1940s.
Or maybe not a TV show, a movie. Yeah, movie.
It's about a kid named Bud. He's not Buddy. It's Bud. And he's trying to find his dad after his mom dies. But if they did it, it would be pretty good because now there's a sequel that came out a couple of years ago to the book, and you could put those 2 books together, both plot lines, run them together. Now you have an A and B plot line. Mm-hmm. That would be a great movie.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I have a couple of runners-up that I'm just going to run through really quick. Final Chronicles of Narnia books. I was going to say these, but apparently they're about to start production on the last couple of them because we've been waiting 9 years for a next one since 2010. I mean, it's going to be a while till we get the next one, but, those are coming along. The new Chitty Chitty Bang Bang books. Those are the last one came out 2 years ago, and they're written by Frank Cortrell Boyce, the person who wrote my favorite Doctor Who episode and a lot of my favorite books. So I don't think it's too much of a challenge for him to turn those into movies. Maybe he's busy with other things, but yeah, they feel like they would be good summer action family movies. Feels like something that would be from Universal or maybe an animated TV show. That would do good as well. And last runner-up is The Great Kugelstein Museum Mystery and all the series of books from there. It's about 3 mice. I'm not going to spoil from there. It's a really funny book, but I don't think it's for everyone. It would be great for, maybe 6 to 8, maybe 4 to 8. Okay, last segment here is what are some movies that would be better as books? Do you have any of those?
Wait, no, because books are never better.
Well, I have 2.5. So, first one is Yellow Day. Literally, one of the most confusing movies I've ever seen in my life.
That was not confusing.
I had to watch it 3 times, and I still don't really understand it.
I mean, I don't know what it's about either, but it's not confusing. I don't know what most movies are about, so it's fine.
It's just something to watch.
It is. That's all movies are. Just
Anyway,
like books. Books are just something to read,
you
to
just
stare at
at
and
it.
look at a log.
Doesn't care if it's upside down or not. It's a very confusing movie. I would tell you what it's about, but I have no idea. so it would be better as a book. Second, Guy and Madeline on a Park Bench. I've watched it twice. I still don't quite understand it. I think I do now, but I feel like it would be better as a book. And finally, this is my half runner-up. I'm not saying this would be better as a book, but I'm saying it needs a book to go along with it, and that's Gordon McGivern's Life on Normal Street. At the end of the season, season 203, or no, was it 202? I think. At the end of season 202, they did a scene where Gordon writes a book called Average Avenue, which is like about his life. I'm like, what if that was an actual book? Like, I want to read that. I would like to read a book about his life. But yeah. So that's it. Books that are movies, books that should be movies, and movies that should be books. Thanks for joining us this week on Rocket to Anywhere, and thanks for being here if you've been here from the beginning. Episode 50. Can't believe it. If this is your first time, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and anywhere else podcasts are available. You can get links for all of our locations at rta.space/listen. If you have any suggestions for us, you want to talk about your own books and movies or things like that, or you want to send some jokes, you can email us, rocket2anywhereshow@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us on Twitter at RTA Show. Show notes for this week's episode are available at rta.space/50, and you can follow me on Twitter at Corban Garcia. Sofia's on Instagram at extra_Sophia. Well, we'll be back week after next to discuss something. I'm not quite sure yet. I haven't decided, but that's all for this week. So, until next time, this rocket has landed.
Twee blind mice, twee blind mice.
One's named Marvin, one name's Fats, and the other one is named Melvin. The other one is named Melvin, and they live in Macy's. They live in Macy's. This is awkward.